Hey guys, Ernie here and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. The other day, as I tend to do fairly frequently, I was surfing Amazon looking for new stoves. Most stoves these days are just copycats. They're just the exact same thing over and over and over. They put a different name on it. They're all probably coming from the same factory in China. This particular stove looked a little different and it caught my eye. So let's check it out. It looks pretty cool, but is it pretty cool? Stay tuned. Let's check out this Wadeo 7200W stove. I think you guys will like it. It's pretty interesting. Thanks for watching. Now, in keeping with the classic Chinese names, you know, these names are awesome. I'm going to read this to you guys. This is the name on Amazon. It is the 7200W windproof camping stove, camping gas stove with piezo ignition. 2 fuel canister adapter, carrying case, portable stove, backpacking stove for outdoor backpacking, hiking, and picnic. Let's check it out. All right, guys, this is the Wadeo 7200W stove. We'll go ahead and pull it out. Nice case. Y'all know I love cases. Nice little case. It's got a couple of accessories, which I'll show you guys here in a second. The actual stove, you just unfold these 3 very simple legs. This thing flies out. And there you go. Pretty cool stove. Pretty impressive power on this stove. Folded dimensions are 5.9 by 3.5. Unfolded is 8.2 by 3.5 by 19.6. And that is because of this very long fuel hose. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. The case itself is 6.1 by 3.9. Weight is a pretty impressive 20 ounces. I mean, if you look at this thing, 20 ounces is not too bad. Made out of stainless steel and brass. Power is 7,200 watts. That converts to 24,000 BTU. Now, initially I thought, no way. There's no way that this is 24,000 BTU. It might be. It is recklessly out of control. I mean, this thing is so strong. It's pretty crazy. Claims to boil 1 liter of water in 2 minutes. That's probably under perfect conditions with fairly warm water to start with. Made in China. Only costs $38, which is pretty impressive. It is a standard isobutane connection, as you can see. It has a built-in piezo igniter down here. Okay, you just can easily turn it on. One thing I'll tell you is that it gets hot down here because this thing is so hot. It's got a trio of brass burners, as you can see here. It has folding legs. Each leg has a little silicone pad to help it from, slipping around too much, which is very nice. It has a, quote, heat shield at the bottom. I'm not real sure what that means, but I don't see much of a heat shield. It has a baffle here, which is nice. That protects the piezo igniter, so it kind of creates a little cocoon for the piezo igniter. It has these serrated pot stands. It's a pretty wind-resistant design because, again, you can see where the pot would lay here, and these burners are just underneath. They're kind of protected by this little dip here in the stove, and it has an excellent carrying case. Now, let me show you guys the flame control. A couple of things as well, just before I forget. It is standard isobutane, but it comes with adapters for a standard butane bottle and an adapter for a propane bottle. So that's pretty cool. You can use all 3 different fuels with this with no problem. And that's pretty cool. We're gonna actually look at all these. We're gonna do a 2-cup boil test with standard isobutane, with a standard butane bottle, and with propane. Now we're also gonna do a 1 liter boil test with the propane, just to see if we can actually boil 2 cups of water in the amount of time that they said. I don't think so, but we'll find out. So let's go ahead, show you guys the flame pattern of this bad boy. We'll get everything going, show you just how much flame control you have or don't have, and then we're gonna boil a whole bunch of water. So what do you guys think? Well, you know we're going to talk pros and cons. We'll start with pros. This is an interesting stove because it's really cool, but it's also not always cool. It's got a very long fuel hose. We know why, because it is a beast and you don't want any fuel canisters anywhere near this thing. It's got an excellent protective case and it has 3 fuel options. It's very nice to know that not only is it okay to use with all 3 major types of canisters, isobutane, butane, and propane, but they also include the adapters. Putting all that together for the price is a pretty good deal. It's pretty wind resistant. The design itself is kind of inherently wind resistant. It's got a piezo igniter. The legs are very stable. It's a stable platform for a pretty large and heavy pot. The cost is also very reasonable, and like I said, the cost is reasonable given everything you get, including those 2 adapters for extra fuel bottles. As far as cons go, it's kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the description that they give. They're trying too hard, right? Their boil time estimates are a little out of control. 2 minutes, and again, I mean, we got 2 minutes 40 seconds with water that was fairly warm to start with. So if you have relatively cold water in the mid 50s, it's going to take 3.5 minutes probably to get it up to snuff, and it uses a lot of gas. Even though it was super strong, I'm not sure I trust the 25,000 BTUs. It's possible. I mean, it is pretty crazy, you know, strong, but that's a lot of BTUs. Biggest issue is that it just chews up the fuel. I mean, it uses at least twice as much fuel as a typical stove that I test, which is usually anywhere on a really good stove, 6 to 7 grams, up to maybe 9 or 10 grams at the most to get 2 cups of water to a boil. This thing uses double that and then some, so it is a fuel hog. It has 3 burners, which of course means, but those burners are seem completely unregulated. I mean, y'all saw I mean, look at it. It's crazy. They're just wide open. And it's loud, y'all. It's loud. So it uses fuel. The last thing is, and you could see it, it just flows, flames everywhere. Like, you can't use it with a standard pot. I was using equivalent to like an Evernew mug pot, like 900 milliliter, a little bit wider pot, and all the flames were still basically going all around it. So using this in a camping or backpacking scenario, although it's fairly large, it really doesn't work very well because the flames are so out of control. So what do you guys think? I mean, I like the stove. I think it's freaking cool. I love high power stoves, but it has pretty significant limitations that you have to be aware of going in. I think the biggest limitations are just how out of control and loud it is, and how impossible it is to direct the flame on the bottom of a small pot versus a larger pot. And it also just chews up the fuel. I can't emphasize that enough. Just chews up the fuel. At the end of the day, I just don't think they have to try so hard in what they're saying. They're putting all these words, you know, not well translated from Chinese to English, and it just makes it sound ridiculous. It's a good stove. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very powerful. As long as you understand the limitations, it'll work. But, you know, the company just doesn't have to try this hard. It feels like I'm going, you know, kind of getting sold a used car or something. Is it a backpacking stove? Absolutely not. Is it a camping stove? As long as you have pots that are big enough. Is it a good emergency stove? I think so. I mean, you could probably get water to a boil really quickly. You could probably cook with it pretty well because you do have some adjustability. Just make sure you have the right equipment to do so. What do you guys think? Do any of you have it? I think it was worth buying. I think it's pretty cool. I like these remote canister stoves, even if they're crazy powerful like this one. I think they're pretty cool. So I enjoy having them. I collect them. What I do. Not sure if you guys are aware, but I have an entire playlist on stoves, almost 200 videos on that playlist now. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up down below, comment, that really helps. The biggest thing is, guys, subscribe to the channel. If you can subscribe to the channel, that will make the biggest difference for me. One of these days I'll get to that 100,000 subscriber mark, and I think that's kind of when the YouTube algorithm kind of opens up and really helps me out. You can help me out. I know a lot of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so if you don't mind doing that, please subscribe. As always, guys, I appreciate you checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stay tuned for more videos soon.